If you're living in an RV or a van, or you are planning on living in an RV or van, you need to watch this video because things are changing fast.
There ain't nobody gonna do it for you. Got to find your own.
Hey friendlies, I'm Carolyn and welcome back to my RV life. Things have been so weird the last year I have been on the road. As you know, I've been on the road about 6 years, and the last year has been the weirdest and in many ways the most dangerous year of all of my years living in an RV. And all of this has been for one single reason: the weather, the climate. It's getting weirder, it's getting more dangerous, it's getting scarier. No matter where I am, from Wisconsin to New Mexico, the weather is changing and it's making things a little bit harder for RVers. Not only did I have severe thunderstorms and crazy winds, I survived a derecho in Wisconsin last spring. I encountered tornado watches in Arkansas in the middle of winter when they're not really supposed to have a lot of tornado activity. And just recently, I was evacuated from a campground in New Mexico because a fire got way too close. I was denied water at a state park. I could dump my tanks, but I couldn't fill up on water because the water table is so low. They were only allowing water for people who stayed at the campground. Even though I had a state park pass, they were like, you can dump, but you can't get water. Water is getting more scarce, the weather is getting more volatile, and of course we have the wildfires. So not only did I get evacuated from a campground several weeks ago, they are now closing entire national forests in the state of New Mexico. So I've been driving all day. I gotta leave, I can't stay. I wanted to stay in New Mexico, but I can't. So I'm thinking, what does this mean for the future of RV life? Not just for me, because I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on the road, but the future RVers, the people who are going to come after me, those of you who are in the planning stages, maybe getting on the road next year, maybe getting on the road in 5 years when you retire. What is it going to look like? I think it's going to get really, really hard. If they're closing national forests, 3 major national forests in New Mexico in the spring because of critical fire danger. I said in another video, 84% of wildfires are caused by humans. So what's the answer then to prevent wildfires? Close off national forests to humans. That means Carson National Forest, Santa Fe National Forest, and Cibola, whatever you want to call it, is also closed. Nobody can go in there. You can't hike in there. You can't horseback ride in there. You can't ride your bicycle in there. They're closed until further notice through the end of the year unless they get a ton of rain. So we're in the spring in New Mexico. Fire season hasn't even hit Oregon, California, Utah, Colorado. So what does this mean for the future of RV life? Where are we going to go if they could close all the national forests because of critical fire danger in order to protect the forest and the surrounding communities? Where are we going to go? I think it's going to be a lot harder to boondock. Already, it is. I mean, not even it's going to be, it is a lot harder to boondock. I've been seeing this. I've been seeing closures. Not just what I'm seeing right now in New Mexico, but I was thinking about making this video a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember where, but I'm seeing closures in national forests. I'm seeing a lot more gates. You can't go here. You can't go there. Logging and clearing is happening, and I'm seeing frantic clearing and logging activity in national forests in order to clear out some of the kindle, you know, in case of a wildfire. But it's already getting harder to find boondocking in national forests. So what is it going to look like next year or 5 years? Those of you who want to live in an RV the way I do, there may not be public lands in the summer. In the winter, yeah, sure, you can go east. There's a lot less public land in the east. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, am I going to have to like suffer humidity and bugs and just grit my teeth and deal with it if this is how I'm going to live for the next few years? So that's number one. Number one is if they start closing forests, imagine next month fire season could start hitting all of the western states. Imagine they start closing all the national forests in California, Oregon, and maybe even Wyoming. What was the other state? Colorado and Utah. Where's everybody going to go? How many nomads do you watch who spend the summers in those states? It's very real possibility that they're going to be closed in order to protect the forest and the communities. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to go? The climate's not going to get any better. It's getting worse, exponentially worse. I'm noticing it exponentially worse every year. So we've got the issue of national forest closing and where are we actually going to camp. The second issue is water. Water is going to become more scarce. It already is. I can't get water from a state park. Reservoirs and lakes and streams and creeks bone dry. It's spring. They should have water in them, bone dry. Reservoirs, we've seen some of the Lake Mead is lower than it's ever been. I don't even remember what the one is in California anymore. Shasta, lower than they've ever been before. We are going to start seeing serious water shortages. So even if you can get water as a full-time RVer, how much is it going to cost? We can go pay $10 now to dump it and get water. If you're budgeting for that, what if it becomes $50 to fill a 40-gallon tank every 2 weeks? That's a real possibility. So I wanted to bring this to your attention because things are changing. Whether you believe that climate change is man-made or not, climate change is here. It's happening. We see it around us every single day. And it is definitely it's not going away in 5 years. It's only going to get worse. So if you're planning on getting on the road, if you are already on the road, this is something you need to think about. Where am I going to go if they close all the national forests? Am I going to be able to afford to travel to a state that's open? Am I going to be able to afford whatever water might cost in the future? These are all really serious things that you're going to have to think about and plan for. So I wanted to just give you it. I'm seeing it. I'm here. I'm witnessing it. This is my life right now as a full-time RVer. I have to leave an entire state. Because even though they only closed 3 of the national forests in the state, it's only a matter of time before they close the rest. So I go to another state. Who's to say those national forests don't close in a month? Because extreme fire danger is going to hit there. The winds too. You guys know the winds have been ridiculous this year. I always experience winds in the desert, 85-mile-an-hour gusts this year for the first time since I've been on the road. That's another thing to consider. Are you going to be able to handle that? Are you going to be able to, are you going to be afraid of your RV tipping over? Or maybe that's going to determine the type of RV you're going to get. I feel much safer in a Class C than in a trailer. I'm a lot heavier than a trailer. So think about this. You know, add this to your to-do list if you're planning to live in an RV anytime in the future, because this is going to be a very real issue that you're going to have to contend with. Things are going to cost more. Boondocking is going to be not as plentiful as it has been. Like I said, I'm already seeing that. You might want to think about the winds and the rain and the hail. I just saw a weather alert the other day that softball-sized hail was going to fall. So are you going to be able to handle that living in an RV? Is this something you want to deal with? Something to think about. Just wanted to share that with you because, like I said, this is very real. This is my life right now. And if you're living in a sticks and bricks, you may not have any more peace of mind depending on where you are. And you might still think, yeah, I'd rather take my chances in an RV. But you need to think about it. You really, really hard. This needs to go into your planning, something to consider because it's very real. And in many ways, we are at higher risk because we're moving all the time, depending on how remote we go. So in many ways, RVers are at much higher risk, more subject to the elements and the weather and the climate than sticks and bricks. So for one thing, we don't have communities supporting us, right? I mean, if you live in a community that's running out of water, you have infrastructure and government who's hopefully trying to find ways to get you water. We don't have that. If they start closing down, nope, sorry, the water's just for residents. Nope, sorry, you have to live here. You have to prove that you live here in order to fill up on water. That's a very real possibility. something to think about. Leave your thoughts below. Thank you all so much for being here. I just want to also say real quick that it was such an honor and a privilege to meet more friendlies at my meet and greet in Tijeras, New Mexico yesterday. You know, I kind of had a little bit of an epiphany yesterday, speaking to all the beautiful, wonderful, kind people who always come out to see me, from the RTRs that I have attended to Wisconsin to New York to the Patron 10-day Patron. It was supposed to be 7. It ended up being about a 10-day Patron camp out. Made new friends, had a great time. And then the meetup last night, you know, the free meetup, by the way. Some people complained that they thought they had to pay for it, but it was a free meetup. And I had a little bit of an awakening about it last night. So many of you have been with me through so much. You have seen me cry, you've seen me laugh, you've seen me grieve, you've seen me get angry. Maybe even I've gotten angry at you, and I've snipped at you, and I snapped at you, or I've gotten sarcastic at you. It happens. I know, it's so hard to believe. You know, I don't always have the most patience. You guys have seen that. You've seen me go through death threats and hate, and I mean, you've watched me lose a dog. You were with me through Alaska. You were with me on the Pacific Crest Trail. You know, somebody kind of reminded me of that yesterday. You know, it's like I was with you every day on the Pacific Crest Trail. 56 days, 576 miles. So many of you were right there with me experiencing it. And then New Zealand and my travels this east. I mean, I just don't realize sometimes, like, that you guys feel like you're right there with me, that you feel like you're a part of my life, that I've taken you with me, that you've seen me go through all the things you've seen me go through. And I am beyond grateful and honored that I have so many wonderful, beautiful, kind, supportive people in my corner. What do they say? They say that you can measure a person by the friends they have. And, you know, I've met a lot of friendlies lately, and I like to say, you know, once I meet you and spend time with you, you know, friendlies turn into friends. And not just the friends that I'm surrounded with, but the friendlies that show up, who show up at my meet and greets, and who support me and are encouraging. And not only like that, but just you're kind, you're intelligent, you're thinkers, you're just good people. And I don't know, I just had that epiphany yesterday that I am just so touched and honored, and I feel like the luckiest YouTube creator on the planet when I get to meet all of you, to know that I have so many wonderful people in my corner, you know. And if it's true that the people who surround you are a reflection of who you are, that was a little bit of a mirror for me yesterday. It was just like, oh, you know, you don't attract good people if you're an asshole. You know, I'm sure I can be an asshole, but overall I'm not. I can be bitchy, you know, and that just really hit me yesterday. So thank you, all the good people who are in my little corner of YouTube. It means the world to me. I wouldn't be able to make videos for a living if it wasn't for each and every one of you who supports me in every way that you do. So I hope you know that. I hope you know that I appreciate each and every one of you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Leave your thoughts below about weather and the future of RV life and what you're doing to plan. If you're in the planning stages or you're already on the road, what changes have you made to plan for a future that's going to look very different from what it has? You know, you've all been following many of us for several years as we live this lifestyle, but it's going to change. So what are you doing to prepare for those changes? All right. You guys rock. I'm happy, just thrilled, happy. I mean, I'm giddy, tired, yes, but giddy. I'm almost giddy. I had such a great time with all of you. So thank you. I will see you soon. In the meantime, be happy, be free, and be kind. See you soon.